Yeah. They add in airline, jet airline.
Tom, you have a good ride down?
Yeah.
Does it have frost up your way this morning?
Yes, there was.
We had frost at our house.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
Actually, I was checking the temperatures. Y'all had a lower temperature here, maybe, did it? How low did it get?
It was, I left the house just a little after 6, and it was 34, I think.
Oh, okay.
But I had a pretty good frost there. I don't know what it got to. It was, everything was just, frosted over this morning, all the grass was. And Keith, my foreman, lived in Scott City, and he had his truck sitting outside. And he said when he run the wipers over it this morning, he had ended up doing a little bit of scraping, so they had it down there too.
Yeah. Susan's on the process. I'm gonna reach out.
I think it's supposed to get a little cooler tonight.
Yeah, or
Same maybe.
be about the same, something like that.
Sure. Yeah, for the nurse, for the nurses. Yeah, okay. They call it health science. That's what we need all the other programs. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna have a full house.
It's looking like it is.
This.
So, yeah. So I'm just starting.
Oh, Chris.
Figured out.
Chris? How are you doing, Chris?
Good, you're.
Hanging out. Hi, Jerry. Yeah, they're going good, sir. How are you? I'm saying the same thing. Not always.
No. Hiring your, so, number 2.
Right now, I'm going to hire somebody. Somebody that's.
You're Matt.
Like a hybrid setup to where. So, one person. Yeah, we got 2 people. Yeah. Yeah, I mean. Not necessarily the way it should have been. Just that it should have been some of the stuff. Yep, so, yep, that makes sense.
Alex, I'm gonna give you the
Right, person talking about my street, I cross. Yeah. Makes sense. So, I got to grab before my horns and. Taking the facility. Thank you guys for going to her for. I heard really positive things about it. Okay. The downtown tour on track. That's. Just right out there. You remember, and I said, I told Adam to do that. It's all okay. Okay, cool.
All right, we got 2:00, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Start with your second. I'm Jeremy Dance with the Southeast Missouri Regional Planning Commission, and current SEMPO president.
Alex McAvoy, SEMPO staff.
True Christian, SEMO RPC. Wayne Hawes, Mayor Jackson.
Chad Berner, SEMO Ready.
Gary Harbison, Seymour Port.
Chris Crocker, MoDOT.
Mark Phillips, Cape Special.
Tom Caldwell, IDOT. Joe Killian, MoDOT.
Ronald Mills, KLG Engineering, Support Staff.
Trevor Foley, City of Cape.
Stacy Kidder, Mayor Cape.
Matt Winter, City of Jackson. Rodney Mullinger, City of Jackson.
And online we have Cecily Cochran and Michael Brain.
That will take a motion for the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Mayor.
Second.
Second, Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of meeting minutes, August 21st. Those are in your packet. Have a chance to review those. We've got the motion to accept those.
So moved.
Second.
Mark, second, Mayor Haas, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have no communications at this time. Any public comments? Seeing no one here, we'll move on to new and unfinished business. Starting with the SEMPO Region Trail Connection Study.
As a quick refresher, we held another round of open houses back in August. On August 7th, we were at the Osage Center, and then on August 8th, we were at the Jackson Civic Center. During our public meeting, we provided results from the public survey that we conducted, which was closed in August 25th. We received 228 responses. Our consultants also outlined the northern and southern trail connection. They show travel patterns, elevations, property ownership, and then solicit feedback from the participants. Our planning committee earlier this month received a brief, and I say brief because we had technical difficulties, a brief presentation from our consultant as an update. We have a handout of the presentation that was provided, mostly going over survey results, but also some of their findings. Our consultants had shared that they plan on giving us a more detailed update at our November meeting, but I wanted to be able to provide this initial data to you for your reference. Briefly taking some of the survey questions, I wanted to get a flavor of some of the responses we received. The age demographic of people that responded was actually pretty evenly dispersed, but the largest group we heard from was ages 40 to 49. But the age demographics represented were 12 and under, all the way to 70 plus years old. Most people use our trail systems for exercise. Most people, when they do use the trail system, travel between 1 and 5 miles. The most common destinations that were reported for trail usage were the Osage Center, Jackson City Park, Schnooks, Shawnee Park, and downtown Cape. When asked which destinations are you not currently accessible by the trail that you would like to see made accessible, the most popular responses were additional connection to additional trails, connection from Cape to Jackson, riverfront access, schools and libraries, downtown Cape, Bloomfield Road, soccer fields, Fruitland with a new one, and then SEMO University. When asked which intersections are you most concerned about being a barrier to biking and walking, probably not surprising to most folks, they said all along Kings Highway and all along Jackson Boulevard. They also said any roundabout. And they said that many had stated that they feel all intersections are unsafe because cars go too fast and they do not stop at crosswalks. So right now, our consultants are at stage 4 of the 5-stage plan development. Stage 4 being the development of recommendations and an implementation plan. So they started that in September. They'll finish that up in November. And then between December and February, they'll be working on the draft report and the final report for the board's consideration, probably in our February board meeting. Any questions on our trail system plan update?
There are no questions. We'll move on to our product demonstration.
We had the long anticipated Placer AI. As a quick briefer, at the beginning of our fiscal year, we had invested in Placer AI system. So every SEMPO member now has access to it, but we access it through the SEMO Regional Planning Commission. But if there's reports that you would like run, either for a grant project or for your own edification, you do have this resource available. So I asked, Drew if he'd be willing to provide a brief presentation on the functionality and what, brief introduction, piece of information that you can receive from it. Betsy Tracy, Marla. No, I'm just letting.
Okay, thank you.
And our was origin destination and our planning area and where they're coming from.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk and I'm gonna trust that this is gonna come up here in just a second. For those of you that aren't familiar with Placer, it's, I don't know how it all works, but they basically contract with app companies, for cell phones. And they buy the location data from those apps. And so they are able to track cell phones. I can log in.
Yeah, that's a lead is playing.
Well, I'll have to come. My password is super secure, so it's a ridiculous mess of symbols and stuff. No, I'm still, okay. So there's different companies out there that do similar stuff. I will say Placer is more economic development focused than it is like transportation focused. But we can still get some data. So this is through a subscription. SEMO RPC is kind of the contact point for Placer, but like Alex said, SEMPO has signed an agreement with us, so if you have any data requests, just let me or Jeremy know and we can pull it for you. So the way Placer works, so when we're looking at traffic pins, and this is, this is over here on Mount Auburn, basically Mount Auburn and Bloomfield. So Placer is looking at cell phones, and that is this panel impressions. So when we're looking at traffic pins, Placer works is they look at in the geofenced area, and it's just how many cell phones went past this point. So you're not counting cars, you're counting cell phones, which, so we're looking at, the last 12 months, right? Yeah. So this is the last 12 months. If we look at, we can just do, we can do the last full 4 weeks. So in the last 4 weeks, on this Mount Auburn location, which is right here just north of Bloomfield, there were 42,000 cell phones that Placer has an app agreement with that went past that location. But Placer knows that not everybody has a phone with one of their apps on it. So they have their own calculations, and they estimate they say that there's about a 5% margin of error. So their estimate is that around, well, getting close to almost 500,000 call it 490,000. Went past right there near Bluefield. So 490,000 people. That's not cars, that's total people. It could be somebody went through there, 6 times. The viewers would basically be kind of unique people. So even if they went past that location 10 times that day, the viewers is just, it would count everybody one time. Which tells you that in this case here, this is kind of the average number of trips past that traffic pin. So the average person, 2.37 times that they went by that location. Because Placer is tracking cell phones, they know where that cell phone lives. When that cell phone goes to an address and it stays there from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., Placer is able to make the assumption that, well, that must be the residence. When that cell phone goes to another address and it's there from 8 to 5, that must be where it works. So they're then able to look at things like, they can tell. So they can tell where the cell phone lives, where the cell phone works, using census data on like block and census tract levels. They can assign demographic data like average household income, the average household size of that cell phone. They can do calculations like that. It doesn't, there's no way for me to tell the exact address that a cell phone came from. That all gets obscured and aggregated up. But we can get things like, here's the median household income of everybody, the estimate for everybody who came past that traffic pin, how many of them have bachelor's degrees, the median age of those people. We can get into their favorite locations, not necessarily before or after that traffic pin, just this cell phone loves to go to Walmart. That's the #1 location. It has 66,000 visitors in this 4-week period. Of the people that came past that traffic pin, Cape West Plaza, Sam's Club. We're doing basically a comparison. You also saw on Bluefield right near Mount Auburn. But those comparisons could be, we have data for the entire nation. So you could compare what does Mount Auburn and Cape look like to Sunset Drive in LA or whatever. We also can see, this is immediately prior to passing the traffic pin, where did they come from? So 38% of those people came from home. 50% of them came from work. And then you can also see immediately after they passed the traffic pin, where did they go? And again, 36% went home, 13% went to work. So you can start to get some idea of, again, we don't know the exact location of home from this, but you can start to get an idea of where people are coming and going from. This is a little hard to tell from here, but it's, the roads are highlighted in colors, which is giving you an idea of how many, basically where people are coming from when they are passing that traffic pin. And of course, most of them are the interstate. You've got some, what would this be? Is this W? No, yeah, Lexington.
Mount Auburn.
That's Mount Auburn.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah. So you can start to see, where most people are coming from as they pass that traffic pin, or, where the smaller number of people are coming from immediately before they pass that.
Across the bridge.
Yeah, there is quite a bit there. It'll break down by hourly. Here we're looking at hourly. across the entire 4 weeks, it basically looks at each hour kind of aggregated, so most of the traffic is coming by, this is 4 PM. Again, blue would be Mount Auburn, red is Bloomfield. So you can see that Mount Auburn consistently has a little bit more traffic. It peaks in here from noon to 4, and then it climbs and falls off. What else do we see? Here it's broken down by day, so you can see how the traffic is impacted. Sunday is the least traveled on either road. I kind of skipped past this. So this is showing us, it's a heat map of where most of the visitors who passed that traffic pin, where they came from. This was in a 4-week period. Of course, we can look at this, you can set a custom date range. Excuse me, you can look at one day, you can look at a set number of hours within a day, you can look at, I think it's 4 or 5 years. The data goes back to, I think it's 17. I think it's 17. So there is if you want a lot of historical data, you can look at that. We can get we can break so we can look at the cell phones that came through here. We can look at, right now it's showing us the home locations of the cell phones that came through the traffic pin. Again, because they can tell, the cell phone lives at one location and works at another. This is basically the home location of the phones that came through the pin. We can also toggle that over and look at the work locations of all the phones that came through the pin. We can see here it breaks it down by zip code. And a lot of this we can export out to like a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet. So you can get an idea of where the majority of your visitors are coming from. The Cape zip code is 25%. Jackson is another 11%, and then it drops off, keeps going down. But you get out to scroll down here, we've got people coming from at least 315 came from Paducah. So you can get an idea of the zip codes that they came from. This is aggregating basically, what is this, 80% of the people that pass the traffic pin live within 30 miles. So this is all the people that live within 30 miles, 100% from 250 or more miles away. But it just kind of gives you an idea that the vast majority of people live within 30 miles. Overlaps, which doesn't tell us a ton with this because these two locations are so close to one another, but we can look and see how many people. Let's look at the property. So that was a traffic pin. The property is basically we have so the properties is where Placer really is focused. It has basically all of the same data. It just looks at, it includes dwell times. So you can look and see, how many people came to a location and stayed there for, you can ask for 10 minutes. How many people stayed there for 2 hours? So there's a ton of data. I don't want to go too long, but there's all kinds of data. You can imagine for 2024, the amount of data that people have based on your cell phone. There's also, let's take a while. There's also advanced reports. So extra reports that we can't run ourselves, but Placer will run for us. They cost credits, but we have like 260 credits, and I don't think any of them cost more than 2 credits. So
You have to watch ads or something to build up your credits.
no, we just get them as a part of the subscription. There's all kinds of reports. There's like, I don't know, 2 to 3 dozen other reports that we can run. Again, a lot of them are economic development focused. So you see like office areas, there's your store closures. You can compare like, you can look at the chains that you have in your city, and then what are the common co-tenants and what are we missing compared to other communities. It'll look at, the demographics of our area, the demographics of customers of either a specific chain or a type of business. So you could say, I don't know, sports equipment stores. And it'll look at the common demographics of the people that go to those stores, compare that to the demographics that you have and say, yep, this kind of store would or wouldn't be a good fit. There's all kinds of stuff. So the short version is, I guess, it's a little creepy. But I don't know anything about anybody here, so but if you've got any questions about, hey, can you run this kind of report for me? We probably can. If not, we'll just tell you, no, it doesn't have that, but it doesn't hurt to ask Jeremy or I. Occasionally we get a question and we're like, boy, I have no idea, but we just contact Placer and they tell us if they can or can't. And so if you've got questions, just let us know. It's incredibly powerful. So we can create our own geographies.
To an extent.
Yeah, there's a maximum size, but like I've done a couple of geographies for trails to get an idea of how many people are using that trail. If you've got a few blocks that you want to look at, what's going on in those couple of blocks, we can look at that as well.
I think the cap is 5 million square feet.
Hey, I think that's right. What I've done geographies for Uptown Jackson for their homecomers, the Arena Park for the fair. We do quite a few. We get requests for, just how many people came to whatever fest across the region,
Yeah.
which it can tell you that, and it's perfectly good for that. But that's kind of like the absolute floor of what the Placer can do. So
We did some reports for Cape Chamber on the eclipse. So like we had to do North Cape County Park and South Cape County Park separately because both of them together were too big. But we run those geographies for visitors to look at the eclipse and to see what the peaks were.
And as far as potential applications, the city of Cape was working on a trail grants, TAP grant to widen the Cape LaCoy Trail close to the Shawnee Park Sports Center. And as part of the grant application, they asked, what economic benefit are we going to receive if awarded these funds? And with the Placer software, I was able to quantify how many people are using the trail, how many people are going to the Shawnee Park Sports Center each year, and then also where they're visiting before and after that. So I was able to make a pretty good case of if there's over 100,000 people that visit the Shawnee Sports Center every year. There's tens of thousands that are using our trail system. and they're frequenting, a lot of our shops like the Academy Sports Center, they're going to Buffalo Wild Wings, softball tournaments. So it's a valuable resource for information that you might not necessarily have. And Chad could probably speak to this better than I, but in terms of economic development, site selectors use this type of information. You can develop one pagers to hand to them and say, okay, here's our demographics, here's how many people are located here, here's how many people are visiting here, here's our trade area. And that's information that they take into consideration. So consider that as well as potential use.
Does anyone have any other questions or comments? We'll move on to item C, Metropolitan Transportation Plan update.
All right, we're underway. We developed the RFQ. We put it out on September 17th. We allowed 4 weeks for proposals to be submitted. Our deadline was October 11th. We directly solicited 24 firms regionally. We also posted it on AMPO, which is the Association of Metropolitan Planning Organizations website, and we had it on our website. In the end, we've received 3 proposals, and I'm glad to report these are 3 rather qualified firms. It was CBB Transportation Engineers and Planners. That's who we just recently used for our intersection studies. Also, Bacon Farmer Workman and Lockmuller Group. We're currently scoring the proposals. I hope to have the scoring done by Friday. And then, if necessary, we'll hold interviews at our next planning committee meeting in hopes to have a recommendation to the board at their November 20 meeting. Any questions on this one? This was our major flagship project for our plan year. This was 150,000 we had dedicated toward the development of this plan, which federally we're required to update every 5 years, and we've come to that deadline. So we've allowed ourselves plenty of time to develop the plan. So we're excited to get underway with our preferred consultant once the scoring's done.
Any questions on the?
The due date is December 26th. Anniversary,
April, I believe.
pardon?
I think it was April 26th.
Move on to the Safe Streets for All Comprehensive Community Action Plan.
All right, 2 handouts with this one. One is the 1-pager about an open house. We've scheduled our third and final open house on October 23rd. We'll hold it here at the Hope David Center. It'll be from 4 to 6 p.m. We will have our draft plan present for folks to react to, and then also all the information boards we've had previously. We currently do have our draft plan. We asked our planning committee to submit comments by the end of the day. I was able to submit my comments. I know that they've worked to incorporate those. And any other comments, please get those to me and I'll get them to them. But we'd like to have it up on SEMPO's website before we hold the open house, so we folks have an opportunity to review it in advance if they're interested. So our consultants are currently working on incorporating comments. They're also developing the GIS story map of our traffic incidents that'll be placed on SEMPO's website. It's an interactive map for folks to track our crash incidents. And then once we wrap up our open house, we'll be in final plan review time. According to our grant agreement, we need to have the plan completed by the end of December of this year. We need to have our board adopted by the end of January 2025, so the following month. And then I need to issue our final report to the Federal Highway in March. Any questions on our comprehensive safety action plan?
Comments or questions? We will move on to member reports. Let's start with Federal Highway, because that's the way I know you usually have to jump off.
This is Cecily Cochran. I don't currently have anything to report at this time, but I probably will follow up with Alex should anything come through the pipeline before your next meeting.
There was my super.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, our Transportation Trust Fund 7 committee is well underway and, plans to, finalize, their work, in November and make a report, basically to the city council in December for a prospective, ballot initiative in April. And Trevor, I don't know more detail.
We have we'll have public input November
7,
seventh,
Thursday?
Thursday, 4 to 6 at the, here. And also Shawnee for the public input on projects we picked. There's, I think, a total of 9 that the committee has put it down to. Looks like to be pretty good projects. We have one possible new street, other ones are maintenance, and projects prepared, Mount Auburn, William, Broadview, and some others. But if you'd like to know all the projects, and if you're going to stop by the public hearing on that Thursday at 4 to 6, we've got 2 locations for people to stop by and look at.
And just a reminder that our TTF project is part of our sales tax. And so it's been this TTF program that's been renewed for 30 years now. So we hope to see the April for TTF sale.
We've got some good projects coming forward right now. We're getting ready to spread north to south, Berkeley. Lexington's going to be finished hopefully the next year. And you're going to see Berkeley come online. Cape Rock, you've got places on those, north and south spread, and then others at TTF 5 and 6. They'll be complete. And I hate to cut out early, but I double booked myself. I apologize.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. On to Sue Jackson.
Okay, well, Matt and Rodney are busy budgeting for 2025, and some of the key projects we've got. Cover transportation, the East Jackson Boulevard streetlight project. We in September received a cost share grant from MoDOT, so we're in the process of planning that out, and hopefully getting a bid out end of the year, beginning of the year, so that becomes a 25 project to be completed. Bridge at Sunset Hills, which we got a grant last year, will be on the plan for 2025. As well as our Deerwood roundabout at Deerwood after that. Hopefully, progress will begin that project in 2025. Our CBD grant program, which granted us the funds to extend our street in our North Industrial Park and also put in infrastructure there for our new Trustworks Industrial is ongoing. It started. But that one will be completed in 2025. And then we'll be budgeting the various maintenance projects for asphalt and concrete in 2025. I guess with this this group also, we did the intersection study in front of middle school in last year, and we did get that grant to do that. And I guess, Rodney, that'll be budgeted this year or started in 2025?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, so that'll be another project in 2025 that we got granted. But started out with the safety study that came out of this this organization that we did last year. I think that's the key one. Anything else, Rodney, Matt?
I would just add our asphalt pavement improvement program is underway now with ASA Asphalt. I believe it started this week on Greensbury Road. And then the contractors move into 100 block of North Missouri for an overlay. Then to Ridge Road for an overlay. Then we have some patches on Oak Creek Road East and a bunch of work in the Russell Heights Cemetery. And on Monday night, we'll be change ordering in Industrial Drive overlay to the soccer park. And let's see. We'll also have on the agenda, Mayor, for Monday night, an agreement with the UJRO for our wayfinding directional sign program in uptown. And you hit everything else?
Okay.
Any questions for vaccine? Thank you guys for your report. We'll move to Special Road District.
We're currently finishing up, we've been working on a bridge replacement project on Cape Rock Drive, at the bottom of Snake Hill over Juden Creek, if you're familiar with that location. We hope to have it open by the end of this week. We're getting pretty close to being able to accomplish that, I think. And we've completed all of our asphalt overlay project for the year, with the exception of the overlay of that particular bridge. So, hopefully in the next week or so, we'll get the asphalt contractor to overlay the bridge, and it'll all be complete. Surely by the end of the month, I think we'll have that done. And that's all I've got.
Questions for Special Road? University. Support.
About the same as last month's info. We're still working on the early planning on fiscal year 25 plans and specs for those projects. We do hope to maybe possibly bid the parking lot and driveway along with sidewalk ADA improvements, potentially in November.
Anything else for your scene?
Working on a tip of min-maps that we will bring to the TPC next month and then.
The check from like this.
SEMO ready.
Yeah, and, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Shad Berner. I'm the CEO of SEMO Ready for the last couple of months. I've been around the area for quite a while, in and out of different roles. So this is my first meeting with the SEMPO group. So thanks for having me. One project I thought I would share with the group is that we've kind of been reinvigorating SEMO Ready over the last few years. And we have a few different strategic areas. One of those is focused on regionalism, and a target project we're exploring a little bit deeper is the east-west corridor project that's been talked about for many years in this area. But we're taking a bit of a different approach than has been taken in the past. So we're right now having meetings with businesses in the region to collect data on their transportation loads, what's happening from a logistics standpoint, looking at lanes for Procter & Gamble in and out, along with other companies in the region, to collect some data to see, one, if we added east or west, would that impact their bottom line, and help us be in line for expansions of economic projects in the future. So we're collecting that data now, starting to have some conversations. We actually have a conversation coming up. Talk to the gentleman from IDOT. We have Representative Windhorse coming over in a couple of weeks to talk that happened through some of our state reps. And I suspect that moving into the next budget year in Jeff City, there might be some money put in for a study on whatever we look at in Missouri West for potential west expansion. So we're still early stage, but we're moving pretty quick, and to try to wrap our heads around this and see what it would look like if we made some strategic efforts to expand east-west in our region. The data is pretty overwhelming that it would be positive for us economically. The question is where and then how to get it done. And so we're trying to take that approach right now.
Questions for Shad? Tom, you want to go back?
Just, we are meeting with East West Gateway to possibly put into play your Echo E-tip that you folks are putting, so I'm issuing your name as a, best practice. So, we may be giving you a call, but, so that's favorable for us and hope for yourself. But, that's all.
But, let's start. Joey,
I guess.
He's hiding.
Yeah. Just go over some project updates, but the Route 177 project, the shouldering and overlay, that's been pushed back to next year in 2025. For Kings Highway and US 61, PACE plans to begin asphalt starting October 22nd near Buckeyes and Jackson, and hit southbound 61 near the Cape Splash Pad, weather dependent. They plan to finish the repairs on US 61 the following week and move to Route K after finishing US 61.
Is that night work or is it just?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be night work. Now, obviously, the pavement repairs, the goal is to get them back up and open in traffic, but sometimes that doesn't always happen. We do use high early concrete, but it can be susceptible to that, so that would be the only exception to that. The Route 72 mill fill and overlay project, the contractor finished up the pay repairs on 72. They're going to start working on the turn lane work at Route 34 and 72. They're going to pave the intersection of 72 and 34 this year, then do the rest of the project next year. The Route 61 project, that's about 75% complete. All the work south of Mary Street, with the exception of seed and sod and striping, have been completed. The following items remain north of Mary Street: paving between the park and Route D, seed mulch, sod and sidewalks, striping and fencing. The contractor still hopes to hit their completion date, but they are seeking time extension. But we're really trying to push for the original completion date of November, but maybe mid-December or something like that.
You'll announce that when it's come, since it's been announced on Facebook several times.
Has it? Don't believe the Facebook ones. We get a lot of, unless they're from MoDOT.
When you leave a gap, it gets filled. So when you do announce that.
You know, if we know for sure,
Yeah.
we'll try to put something out there. Yeah. Okay. On our official website.
Yeah. There's been a lot of discussion, concrete pulling.
Yeah. The Chester River Bridge is going well. Brian and his team, they finally finished one of the towers completely, the Missouri Tower, bent 4. That's completely done. The contractor's starting to install cables on that one next month. The Tower 5, or the center Mississippi River Tower, they're working on the footings this week and the base of the tower, and they hope to be up and out of the water by the end of the year on that one. The Illinois Tower, they're currently up and out of the water, and they're continuing their way up. So things are going good. They're 90% complete with the fill between the Mississippi River Bridge and the Horse Island Chute Bridge. So again, things are going really well for that project. The Route K 25 roundabout is operational. If you didn't know that by now, it's out there, and I drove through it right before I came here, and I didn't have any troubles other than someone stopped at it. So it is a yielding condition. So, but that's up. We had the semifinal yesterday. Nothing major came out of that meeting. So the Route 74 signal project, the contractor started work on that last week. They're installing signal bases this week, and they anticipate a completion in January on that work. As always, we've got the cost share. The due date's just passed on that one, September 27th, but there'll be another one coming up. So all these studies that we're doing now, you know, those are good opportunities, I think, for maybe putting in for cost share projects. So if you've got any ideas or anything like that, just hit me up and we can work on something. Worked out well for the city of Jackson a couple times here recently. So just
cost share the study.
What's that?
Your cost share a study or?
We won't cost share a study,
The work that comes out.
the work that comes out of the study. So if your project it includes the planning phases, kind of like what you're doing right now with the, you know, the trail connection study and things like that, it wouldn't include that, but any projects that maybe come out of it's, you know, the studies you're doing, like at, what is it, Farmington and that, right now, the intersection with Cape Special, or the bridge that you guys have over there, where's that?
Oh, by the golf course.
By the golf course. That would be,
Oh,
if that was the state, on the state system, something like that would be a really good caution. And if we ever do have governor's cost share project again, it would qualify for that. So keep that in mind. I've been told our new governor is going to kind of try to keep doing the same thing that our old governor did. If that's our new governor. Don't want to get ahead of myself there. And then there's not a lot of bridges in the Cape Jackson area that would qualify for this, but I think there are some, but we are currently having a BRO call right now for projects. Those are due November 15th. And then we hope to make selection on those mid-January. We have roughly $4 million to put towards those applications. It's about the same as what we had last time. And then if you hadn't heard, we did sell the property at Center Junction, 3.66 acres. We got a little bit over what we were asking for, so we're pretty happy about that. And for the life of me, I can't think of who bought it.
Is that public knowledge?
I don't know. It is.
I don't know.
I didn't know, I mean,
I'm
sometimes
not.
land sales are, and sometimes they aren't. I assume it has to be something.
I was not told not to tell anybody. So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And we had it out there on Gov Deals for a while too. So.
Yeah.
Cecily, did you have a question?
No, not a question. I had something to add, so I just wanted to wait until everybody was done. I do have something to report this time.
Oh, go ahead and jump in.
I just wanted to put a bug in your ear about the upcoming highway information seminar. It's annual. This year it's going to be the week of December the 2nd through the 6th. It's completely virtual. I always extend the invites out because not only is it open to federal highway employees, but any of the state and local agencies who want to see where the information that you submit is going and how we're utilizing it and best practices and what we learn. So they've officially sent out the agenda. It is available. I'm going to follow up with an email to Alex that has the agenda in it, as well as the registration information. You don't have to attend all the sessions if you don't want. It's completely free. You would just tune in to what sessions you think would be good to your agency or anything that you have interest in and you just want to know where that information is going. But I do think it's helpful so you can see who is heading some of these items as well as how we're utilizing your data.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna ask about was the TIP amendment, which Drew already touched on, so just wanted to make sure that that didn't get kind of lost in the shuffle, because I know that City of Jackson will definitely be looking to get moving on that, so we want to make sure it's gonna be included.
Michael, you got anything to add?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Betsy, do you have anything to report? You're muted if you're trying to talk.
She wrote in the chat that she was on, but didn't have anything to report.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move on to staff report.
Yeah, the only additional thing I have is next month we will have a resolution that I'll need approved, so we'll require a form for that. We, as part of our comprehensive safety action plan, we do have to commit to a vision zero. And we need to memorialize that via resolution, so I'll have that. But we also have to do, performance targets. The first round will be PM1 safety targets, so I'll have that for us as well.
Anybody have any other questions for Alex? Any other business or communications? with the Group? Not, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Chad, second. All in favor?
You guys got any original?
Unless you got a new list that I haven't seen, I think.
Put a new list out every year, but if you didn't have anything. First.
So it's just, tip amendment, the first,
The
Eco Interactive, I think it's the first.
I got a couple that I'm replacing, I didn't work on.
I think it's the first.
Okay, Rob.
We basically had an issue where we sent them the information. It was just, well, and you know, what, actually it might be the first, because I was thinking of, I sent them the stuff for I sent them the stuff for our new STID.
I know.
And, there were some issues, like they were trying to figure out how to map the projects and stuff that I sent. And I said, you know, I sent them 15 or 20 projects that need to be mapped, but there's a whole bunch of them that are
That's the problem.
JOCs, job order contracts, and cover all criteria. Or, you know, there's various areas, so they're not tied down to specific geographic location.
My email about seeing.